put it within. We tied her up.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the get my keys out of here. Public Course Golf Podcast. We've got Timberwolves on right now.
Yes.
And it feels good. This is going to be not quite a week.
No.
Not exactly a week, but it'll be darn close to...
we said we'd be more committed. We're not waiting 6 months to come back
to put something out. And it's fun because today we have a new sponsor of the channel.
Yeah, we do.
Want to tell them about today's sponsor?
Our new sponsor is yours truly right now.
The Public Course Golf Channel.
You might see that we're sporting some of the new threads here.
You guys know, for the OGs of the channel, they know what this is. And
now it's on you can get it on your sleeve as well.
And then we got one of these guys. Got the little egret on the front, PCG on the back. You want to get spicy, you put PCG on the front, big dog egret on the back.
For those of you who don't know about the egret, well, the egret is a slang term and an actual bird too. But there's a flock of them, if they're called a flock.
Right.
On what hole was that on?
That had to be on.
It was going back.
That's coming in. That was on 9.
Yeah.
No, 18.
No, 18, yeah. And there's a flock of them.
Guys, it's your boy Mikey here for this brief interruption, editing the podcast that we filmed last night, and we're talking about the egrets. Is a flock of egrets. But we actually I just did some research right now. And a congregation of egrets has many collective names, including a skewer, a siege, a sedge, a wedge, and a congregation. So what perfect thing to be on the Public Course Golf Podcast than to have a whole wedge of egrets. Get it? Wedge? Pitching wedge? Just thought I had to add that in. It's not a flock. It is a wedge, which is even better. So, back to the podcast.
And I inadvertently hit my drive toward them, and it stunned one of them. The rest of them flew away. One stayed there like he was having a episode. We drove closer. It didn't fly away. Then it flew away. Looked for my ball. Couldn't find it. It was right towards where they were at. 15 yards up on the fairway. Back into the fairway. Hit the egret and benefited in my favor. So you need to find your egrets in life where you can get yourself ahead. Just kind of, where luck is on your side. So find your egret in your life. You can find your egret on your sweatshirt if you want to purchase something from Public Course Golf. We will put a personalized egret on your sleeve, on your shirt, and you can gain yourself 15 yards or put yourself 15 yards ahead in your life.
Because let's get pretty symbolic here. If you look up, what does the egret symbolize? It symbols good fortune, purity, and grace. And in many places, it also symbolizes new beginnings and prosperity with new endeavors.
Wow.
This is a pretty new endeavor for us.
We got endeavor.
Our site up. We got our merch.
And we all need good sign. You all need good luck on the course, and you might need a new beginning.
Right. So hopefully, Teddy the egret brings you guys some.
Teddy?
I don't know. I guess we didn't pick a name.
Teddy
yet.
the bear egret.
We'll have to pick a.
Eddie the egret.
We'll have to name. Oh, Eddie.
Eddie the egret.
Maybe we'll put a poll on Instagram or something.
Yeah.
We'll look for. I know some of you guys are gonna have some nasty names for us.
Yeah. We probably could think of some right now too, but yeah, no, we got the egret. It's an unsung bird, right? Let's get
a little close up here of PJ's sweatshirt. So stand up and we'll show them. So you got our Augusta hat on right now.
Yep.
But then you got it cuts you off right here.
Okay.
So we got the PCG on the front and then turn around the back. Then we'll get the hood up. And you got our everyone welcome. And then on mine is just the look.
Yeah, we'll trade places here.
So we got the egret on mine. We did a little two-tone sleeve, and then on the back, it's our script.
Public Course Golf right there.
Thing we have. The other thing I was thinking about, actually, we won't include this, but I think when we do the Masters, I can buy those for like $10, and I think it'd be cool to get them, and people buy flags all the time.
Oh yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah. List it for $25 or something.
Oh yeah, it'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd buy it.
So then,
so yeah, that's the new merch, and you can find that at Public Course Golf.
We'll put that right here. Plus, we'll put it in the description box down below. We'll put the link for Public Course Golf.
just got to put this on today, actually. Mikey made this for me, and so we're
Freshy.
maybe a fresh one. If you want to order, go ahead, and we're glad to outfit you in the finest threads this side of the 17th bunker.
Yes, absolutely. And if you guys don't want to buy anything, that's okay too. We just appreciate you guys watching our videos.
We just hope that you hit it in the water.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no snow, and it's getting to be golf season. So,
Is the other day, 2 days ago?
yeah.
Right? Was it the really hot day? It was 74?
Yeah, 74 degrees, but like 50 mile an hour wind gusts.
That was wild.
Yeah.
That was...
Good thing it wasn't snowing. That'd have been a blizzard. That was wild.
Well, and did you see California right now in the Sierra Nevada mountains just got hit with 11.5 feet of snow and 192 mile an hour winds in the mountains?
Sounds like you made that up.
Dude, look at this.
Oh my gosh. You could like fly away in that.
Sierra, dude, that's higher than hurricane winds.
Would that pick you up
I would
if
think
you're a
so.
small child?
Sierra Nevada snow.
That would probably take an infant out of your hands.
Sierra Nevada buried by up to 11 feet of snow and more is coming. Blizzard aftermath. More unstable weather. Ski resort workers tunnel their way to the office after getting more than 10 feet of snow.
Can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine it.
Fuck that. No way.
Yeah. Meanwhile, here we all the open water, all the ice is gone.
Is the earliest ice out on
Yep.
our lake here in town was declared on yesterday. So which would be what, the 3rd? Yes,
Yeah,
that was
March
the
3rd.
earliest ice out since they've been keeping track, and they started keeping track in 1912. So 112 years is the earliest ice out by, like I said, the one before was like mid-March. So it beat it by 2 weeks or a
And
week and a
when you
half.
see the sunshine and stuff, it totally plays with your mind. Like right now, mid 40s today, so it wasn't. It all of a sudden got colder from yesterday.
we got
and,
so
and
spoiled.
Sunday. And wait, is today Monday?
Today Monday.
Yeah. So yesterday was the really hot day. Saturday was nice too, but yesterday was hot, and it was 70s, and then it got cold throughout the day. But now when you drive and it's sunny, it feels like it should be really warm outside because you have open water and sunshine on it. In fact, I remember Sunday night, it felt like it should be light until 9 o'clock because it was so nice outside. So
Here,
Yeah,
sit
we're
up
just-
a little bit. That light's perfectly on your. There you go.
oh yeah, we're just living in a time where it's weird, but we want to be out golfing, and we haven't gone out yet, but courses are open, and we'll have to take advantage of it soon. We just don't want it to be too windy when we go out for the first time. Waste
and
gear.
It's so windy, and
Yeah.
we're fortunate enough. We're excited to announce we're going to be partnering with Wedgwood again this year. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be out golfing again. But yeah, it's like we have X amount of rounds
Yeah.
that we have, and like certainly we can go and pay for more.
Pay for
rounds
one and stuff. Yeah.
but, like,
Who wants to
we're-
pay for golf?
We're,
though?
we're fortunate enough to be able to partner with them to where
Yeah.
Paige and I get to use their golf course to film stuff for you guys. So it's a lot of fun. It'll be fun to have another season with them.
Could be a longer season, which would be fun.
Yeah,
Yep.
we get out
Yep.
a lot. I feel like last year it didn't start right away, and I feel like it ended kind of early.
Yeah, I think it got colder early. I don't know. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. It just felt like it.
We've gotten so spoiled with this beautiful weather and this winter there's been more snow in northern Texas. I just talked about this with that John I was telling you about. His relatives have gotten more snow in northern Texas than we've gotten here this year.
Perfect. That makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm okay with it.
No more Minnesota.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I do want to be able to take snowmobiling and obviously go out and ice fish, but if you said you can either ice fish or you can just have it nice year round and play golf, I would just rather be nice year round.
Yeah. But it makes you think about a lot of sports are in the headlines right now in Minnesota, but it's kind of that time where we're getting close to March Madness, and we want to see if the Gophers have a chance. Where the NBA season is in full swing, all near the last third of the season, basically last quarter of the season, probably, isn't it?
Yeah.
Getting close here.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we get close to now the draft with NFL, and we talk about golf in this channel, talk about all sports, but really the number one sport in this area in Minnesota is football.
Yeah.
The Vikings are gonna their conversation is gonna be the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna take the headline, and the whole idea. What we talked last time in our podcast about Kirk Cousins and his contract situation and what the Vikings might decide to do and what we predict they might do, and it just the whole conversation just ebbs and flows back and forth. And we were talking earlier that basically it's kind of the sword that Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah is going to fall on with this decision. I mean, what has done this decision is going to be either a genius move and is going to make his career, or it's going to be the one that they say, well, what were you thinking? And he's gone.
How could you let Cousins walk?
Yep. There's just so many. You can make a pros and cons list for this whole thing with Cousins wanting him to stay and not stay. And I bet you could, for every pro, you'd find a con.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be like even out. You could really, and so I'm glad I don't make those decisions. But we have talked about how the Vikings are kind of a unique spot, being 11. You think that's bad. Everyone's like tank, But being in an 11 spot kind of presented a unique opportunity for us, maybe, because if we do get rid of Cousins, we have enough weapons around us to say, well, if we have the draft capital, or we have like players to throw in, or we decide to give up some picks, and we move up, we're moving up pretty far, but we're not moving up from like the end of the draft.
Right.
And so maybe we can get one of those top quarterbacks, and we say we have the stuff around that quarterback to be successful.
Yeah.
Because you were saying earlier that typically when you get a new quarterback at the top of the draft, you're going to a crap team.
Right. I mean, if you really statistically look at C.J. Stroud this year, you had brought up, is the exception.
Yep.
Look at top quarterbacks in the draft in the last handful of years. Which one of them have came in and made the shocking difference? Teams went to the playoffs.
The first year they're there.
Very little. Trevor Lawrence was said to be a generational talent. It took him 4 seasons, and Jacksonville's somewhat talked about now.
They're competitive, somewhat, but they're still not.
They're not a top AFC team by any means. And so it's like, okay, you got him, was this heralded crazy number one, recruit, number one pick,
generational player,
generational quarterback. Didn't do too much yet. Still has a lot of time.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes got taken 10th overall. We talked about him last week a little bit. So it's like a lot of these quarterbacks that get taken, unless somebody trades up, you're going into a system that you're in essentially a full rebuild. Whether it's Washington, you look at the Bears have the number one pick. They're in a rebuild. They have the number one pick, but it should have been Carolina's pick. Carolina's garbage.
Yes.
So any quarterback that was going to go there is going into a building system.
Adam Thielen said he wanted to go to a team that had a chance to win the Super Bowl.
They're going to win the Super Bowl.
So that's why he went there.
That was great.
Preposterous statement. He's in the preposterous statement tournament with Common Man.
100%.
Dan Cole. He's on. His quote, I think, is still in the running for that tournament.
Because, it should be. That was ridiculous.
But like you were saying, if you want these top quarterbacks. And I was saying maybe there's not enough data yet, because it used to be that running backs were taken towards the top as well.
Yeah.
And there were more players in general besides quarterbacks that were desired at the top. And now that there's, the trend is to take quarterbacks at the top, you wonder if there's not enough data yet that supports whether taking a quarterback near the top is good or bad.
Right.
They need more drafts to take place where more quarterbacks are taken at the top for it to kind of show that that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
And so past years say find a quarterback later in rounds that fits your system. You still have players around you to make that quarterback be successful.
Yep.
Like Brock Purdy or teams like that or players like that, but maybe it is the right year to move up. Right. And maybe with our arsenal around a future quarterback might be the right thing. I still think, though, you also don't want to just trade away all your picks, because there's two things there. You could say, okay, we're going to trade all our picks that we have for future years and get up and get Drake May.
Yep.
Which would be, people would go crazy for that. But then let's say it doesn't pan out.
Now you have
no picks. So
it's a double-edged sword. It really is.
And you're going from somebody who is unknown and hoping and trading away future to bank that your unknown is going to work out.
Right.
And on the flip side, keeping what you know is known. And this has got Jefferson to be, all these records and on pace for the Hall of Fame. And you're going to get rid of him when you know that's known.
Right.
And you know what he can bring. And,
it's tough.
That's where it goes back. That's where it's back to the same thing where you put pros and cons. But I do think we were talking, having people around a potential quarterback change is something that, even Caleb Williams said, he's interviewed at the combine stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, who would you like to throw to? Justin Jefferson. And
J.J. McCarthy said it. Drake May said it.
Yeah. So we have that going for us. So let's lock up Jefferson. And if we lock up Jefferson, that tells me that there's a plan for the quarterback.
Yep. And it's one of those where it's like, I mean, you arguably have 3 of the top position players, in free agency.
Yeah.
To where you have, you got Danielle Hunter. You got to potentially, do you lock him up? You got Cousins. You got JJ. You got to lock up. So you have 3 leaders in their position that you need to lock up long term.
And very much impactful positions at their position. Like, those are positions that are having a direct impact on the game more than any other position, really. You can make an argument.
So you have your top 3 positions or top 3 free agents.
Yeah.
Cousins now, I've heard, with the increase in salary cap, each team got $30 million more than they were planning on spending. So now you got $50 million going to Kirk Cousins. You got Danielle Hunter wants 20. JJ wants 30.
30 plus.
Yeah. So, okay, let's just, for the sake of numbers, do 30, 20, and 40. You're at $90 million.
Yeah. And how do you even build after that?
You
have to hope that your draft picks are, just like how we were saying, we want to nail, if we were to trade up for a quarterback, you'd have to nail on that pick. If you sign Kirk Cousins and you put all that money to those players, you're going to have to nail on, or hit on every draft pick.
I mean, Kwesi and KOC are 2 that, I mean, they've for the most part had a pretty good track record so far.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you either? It's such a weird. Like you said, I'm so glad I'm not in a position making position.
Yeah,
if you will,
decision making position. Yeah. I mean, I was on the bus today with some students, and one of the kids asked me, "What do you think they should do about Kirk Cousins?" And it's just, every time you ask that, and when you hear what's written about, you don't know what to believe. Florio mentioned, you said, what did you say?
Yeah. That there's talk, as of today, Florio, Pro Football Talk said that...
which is a pretty substantial source. Yeah. He's pretty connected.
I guess there's talk that Cousins is thinking about moving his family to Atlanta. His wife's from Atlanta. My guess, Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, said... do anything, I don't care what it is. This is what he said to upper management. I don't care what it is. You do anything in your power to get Kirk Cousins here as your quarterback. So if they're all of a sudden giving him, we'll say 3-4 years, $100 million, $90 million guaranteed. I mean, we can't do that. The Vikings can't do that. You do that, then we have nothing.
The Falcons do it too, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so what are they? I know they have Bijan Robinson or whatever, but what do they have to spend money on too? Right? And they think they're a quarterback away. I mean, they were competitive last year. So yeah, if they do that, we cannot do that.
No.
And so
there's no way.
That tells me that, but if we lock in JJ, like I said last week, the preposterous statement tournament could also add in Jefferson wants to be a part of conversations before he signs. Well, of course he does.
Right?
What we would never
ever
you would never say we're going to make a quarterback choice without our top player, our top playmaking offensive player.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're not going to be a part of this. Of course he is. He wants to know. So, if he does sign, that tells me that he believes in the Vikings plan. And you said when we were eating dinner at Arby's.
Yeah, or they have the meats.
Yeah, we have the meats.
Delicious sandwich.
Yeah, they can sponsor us too if they want.
Arby's.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll eat a
do a sandwich
roast
every
beef
week.
sandwich.
Easy.
Yeah, we will.
We'll even eat it on set.
Curly fries and stuff.
Honey mustard.
Yeah, we'll do that. But you were saying that there's got to be a plan 1, plan 2, plan 3, like a bunch of different ways. You if you don't sign Cousins, you try to draft this, but then we were like, well, what if somebody sneaks in,
takes that player?
Because you can't know. It's not like they all talk to, hey, gentleman's agreement, shake your hand.
I'm going to be taking him third.
I'm not going to jump in front of you. We're not going to try to,
Not when, you look at Sean Payton's the perfect example for the Broncos. What happens if all of a sudden, now that they just told Russell Wilson he's gone, and they're eating $85 million in dead cap space, they really don't like him.
No.
So what happens if all of a sudden...
But then he wants the number 1 spot for him is the Vikings? No.
Just like Zach Wilson.
Are you kidding me?
Spot is the Vikings.
Oh my!
Of course, we're the most intriguing spot
because everybody wants to throw to Jefferson.
So it's like...
So, of course, every quarterback that's available, they're not coming here. No.
Anyways. You look at... You have to have probably 6-7 contingencies in place just in case that does happen. So it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be in that position. And then you look at kind of segueing again. You look at they just brought in... the Vikes brought in Josh McCown as a quarterback's coach.
And then you always try to read into the reason why.
Why did he do that?
Did he just get the job because he's really good at what he does? Right. Or did they bring him in because he's got certain connections?
He's got a connection to Drake May from high school. He was in Carolina last year. They took Bryce Young in Carolina. It's like
so
did the Vikings tip their cap?
Is he a quarterback whisperer for brand new quarterbacks? Well, Bryce Young was terrible last year. So.
Yeah, so let's not use that.
And I think they missed on that pick.
CJ Stroud was a stud, and that's kind of one of those things where they traded up for that spot. They put him in a good system with a good team, and look what happened. So hopefully, you almost have to take, in this position, look at quarterbacks, the top three. Obviously, Caleb Williams, I'm going to assume he's going to go to Chicago. So we'll take him out of the equation. You have Jaden Daniels and you have Drake May. J.J. McCarthy's kind of worked his way in. I would put Bo Nix and Michael Penix in the next tier of quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. So we'll just go between McCarthy, Daniels, and Drake May.
Two out of those three fit us.
You look at your systematic, who you're going to drop in. We touched on this last week again. We did it a little bit with Josh Dobbs. He's a mobile, athletic, runs around. Cousins is not.
So it's a novelty switch,
and so it didn't work great.
For the novelty of it. You decide to take a Josh Dobbs because nobody plays like him.
Right.
So then we're going to take him. Rudy's just going to get called for an elbow to the. Oh, they didn't call flagrant. That's good. But yeah, you have to. So then, to piggyback off of that, another thing I want to say is, if those three we don't move up and we are in love with McCarthy. Let's say we like J.J. McCarthy. Do you think you have to take him at 11? Or is he somebody that you can bank on trading back to like 20 and then risk him being picked ahead of that? Because the quarterbacks are such a novel, like everybody wants a quarterback, that I think for the next, until we see differently, these teams are going to keep taking quarterbacks in the first 15 picks, regardless if they're actually better than a player that's a defensive player there,
I think you could have probably done that. Say you fell in love with Michael Penix. Mm-hmm. He didn't, he just systematically, it worked perfectly. I think he's fallen in draft charts.
Because of his injury history?
Yeah. And then I think from even showing at the Combine, I think he has dropped a little bit. Where J.J. McCarthy specifically, I've heard, has kind of risen his stock. So I think if you had somebody like Penix, you could probably trade back to later first round. But I think there's too many, like you said perfectly. The first 15, 17 picks, everybody's taking quarterbacks. J.J. McCarthy, as much as people don't like him, especially after the Combine with showing out how he did, I think he's going to go in that top. If he's on the board at 11 and that's who you want, you have to take him.
I have a question for you then. So let's put Christian Ponder in this draft. And would this draft mean that it was a good pick?
Right.
Because that's what I'm worried about, that we reach, quote unquote, because it doesn't pan out.
Yeah.
But all the Cousins naysayers want us to pick a quarterback. It's like put Christian Ponder in this draft. He probably goes in the top 15.
I bet he does too.
And no one says it's a reach.
No, I bet he does too.
Yeah.
And I think it's you can kind of put...
Tell me if that's preposterous. I don't know. I think
leave that in the comments down below. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
Because that was a quarterback that we were in love with, I think.
And what's crazy
and we didn't want to wait too long to get him. And it was around this same...
Wasn't it 12th?
It was like, right around this same level of pick.
So, I mean, you look at Christian Ponder and, dude, he was good at Florida State.
People said, I remember reading, he is the most pro-ready quarterback to come in and be somebody to do something right away, which is what the Vikings need right now.
Right? And
so
he still holds a bunch of records at Florida State. Even after, or even before, Jameis Winston's been there. He has a bunch of records now, too.
And what is with these quarterbacks all having hot wives? I mean, I know both of you and I have hot wives, but we weren't quarterbacks. I know we don't fit the mold.
I was a quarterback in 8th grade.
Yeah, I was a quarterback in 7th grade as well. Yeah, lefty. Mark Brunell, I didn't have as big of a head. But anyways, we have hot wives. Shout out to Kristen and Betsy.
Yeah, baby.
We're not trying to make anybody feel bad by talking about that. We're just regular Joes.
Right.
Yeah, but
Got lucky.
got lucky. We all kicked our coverage. I just fear that is this going to be Christian Ponder 2.0 because of the pick level, the fact that is McCarthy. Can you compare him to Christian Ponder? I don't know. I mean, it's a long time ago. I have to look back at the stats and things, but you just when they pick a quarterback, if they do, Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell need, and even our ownership need to say, we chose, come out and say it right in front of the fans. Just be transparent.
It's us. We
chose this because we think this guy is the guy to lead us. Mm-hmm. And just own it.
Everybody, own it fully.
Yeah.
Instead of, and then trying to make an excuse.
If it doesn't work out or whatever, and leave us all up to wonder about what you're trying to do or what, then the fans are like, okay, this is why they picked him here.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people would respect that.
Yeah.
Especially when they chose to move on from Cousins. And if JJ signs on it, then you can even assume
put it on him a little bit.
Yeah, put him well because he wouldn't. Why would he sign here?
Right.
He's on a tear right now. He is injured. He wants to come back and kind of show his stuff again. He could be a comeback player of the year, even though he doesn't need to be.
Right.
Next year.
Yeah.
He's not going to want to play with a Joe Schmo who isn't what he also wants, and that's why like I said, that headline is so dumb. Of course, he's in on the conversation.
Right.
He would already be walking if he wasn't.
Right.
He wouldn't even care. He wouldn't even be here anymore. He'd be sayonara.
He'd be gone.
Mm-hmm.
I think one last thing on that before we move on to our next topic is, I think in hindsight, looking now, being after the fact and seeing what Christian Ponder turned out to be, if you had to make a comparison right now, I would put Bo Nix. He's what, a fifth-year senior? Ponder was Ponder a 4-year guy?
He was an older guy, yeah.
Ponder Michael Penix is a bit of an older guy. I would put those two.
Kind of reaching for putting a second rounder up at the top.
Mm-hmm. And those guys are second round quarterbacks. This is my personal opinion. And hopefully, McCarthy's young. He's young enough to where, I mean, he's also a polarizing figure. People love him or hate him.
Yeah.
He's kind of the same as Cousins.
He's got the haircut that all the high school boys try to have with like the
fluffy
in the front. Yeah.
So I'd be happy with him. I think I would love to have Jaden Daniels in our system, but like we said, I just think it doesn't really fit. If he's here, I'll bite my words and I'll eat my words on it, and hopefully it works out good. If we draft him, I will be happy because he's a good quarterback.
Well, think about this. So, like, let's say Mikey Polis was no longer on the podcast, and that would be. I mean, I'm already starting to cry thinking about it, and you are too.
I'm sure you guys are too.
But there'd be a national search, and there'd be people that I would employ a firm. Mm-hmm. To go out and scout possible podcast people who are tall and are kind of smell. No, I'm just kidding.
Just a little bit,
but just a good podcast partner. You got to believe that all of these tentacles of the Vikings are evaluating these players, and if they believe that Bo Nix or Michael Penix are basically on the same level of JJ McCarthy, and they're like, well. Yes, he does this, but they do this, and they basically grade out the same. Then it would be smart if they believe that, and they have the people they pay for that, to take the best defensive player at 11 and get your second round
quarterback.
We still have a second round pick, don't we?
Yeah,
pretty sure we do.
Yeah, we didn't last year. No, because last year was T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah. So
I think we do this year.
Yeah. Then get him there. I don't know.
And now, before we continue our sports topic, let's hear from today's video sponsor, PJ.
This episode is brought to you by the Public Course Golf Podcast, where everyone is welcome and where we embody the public course golfer while chipping in our thoughts on the sports world today and of yesteryear. And make sure to check out our website at www.publiccoursegolf.com to learn more about us, check out our merch, and continue to follow us on YouTube and other ways you get your podcasts. Moving on from Vikings talk. We can talk about Kirk Cousins till the cows come home.
Man, we could go all day on bikes.
But Caitlin Clark, my goodness, she is changing women's basketball. Not that it needed to be changed. I'm not saying that. I'm just thinking, just like Steph Curry changed the NBA with his antics, his kind of moxie on the court, and his shooting ability, of course, and how he involved, and in LeBron James too, how they've really invigorated the younger crowd.
Yeah.
And really is, kids want to embody their game after
100%.
Caitlin Clark is doing the same thing for women's basketball, and she not only putting aside her sports, her scoring record and stuff, just her style of play is so fun to watch. There's places are getting sold out. She has her own merchandise. Yesterday, I was at a baseball practice for my son. There were one of the dads was wearing a Caitlin Clark like T-shirt that has like a quote on it. Like, it's a real thing, and I'm so glad because women's basketball is a really fun thing to watch.
Yeah.
And when she goes to the Indiana Fever, it's going to change the WNBA.
It's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's wild to think like her as a brand. You know, we talked about this with the Gophers last week. You know, being their own brand and people she is her own brand. They were talking about would she make more money in the current state of the NIL? Would she stay as a fifth-year senior? And she probably would she make more money than she would as a rookie as WNBA? But a couple different analysts were saying they're like the NIL endorsement stuff doesn't stop when you go to the WNBA. Like she herself is so marketable that she's still going to get these same deals,
and if not more. And there's a lot of there's a young girl that's from my hometown whose mom played for the Gophers, and they went to the game when Caitlin Clark passed. Not Pistol Pete, but the one before the
Kelsey Plum.
Yeah,
was her name, right? Kelsey something.
Okay, look it up. We want to be
look like idiots.
Yeah, we don't look like idiots here. We are prepared for most things, but we want to make it. We want to be relatable here on Public Course Golf Podcast. We want to be a relatable way to look things up every once in a while.
Right.
But when she was the Gopher game happened over the weekend. I believe it was Sunday.
Sounds right.
Might have been Sunday because didn't they play? It was at the Gophers, and
Kelsey Plum.
Yeah, Kelsey, you were right. She passed her and big standing ovation and everything, and it was so cool. I saw this young girl wearing a Gophers hat or Gophers she had half Gophers, half Hawkeye stuff on.
Ooh,
and it was you could
controversial.
But it was it's the one time where we allow that to happen
right.
in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And it's the one time where I'm going to root for Iowa.
Yeah.
In anything. Yeah. And it's not really for Iowa, it's for her.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Hawkeyes can sit on
one,
but
yeah.
It's cool to see. Hopefully she can go out on a high note this year. Obviously they lost last year in the tournament, but they're rated sixth maybe?
Yeah, they're going to be in the top. They'll probably be maybe a 1 seed when the tournament starts.
Well, it's going to be wild. The Big Ten tournament, men's and women's, is in Minneapolis this year. It's going to be a zoo starting next week.
Probably for her.
Oh, yeah. It was when she played here against the Gophers. I saw it was a night game, and people they start lining up at 11:15 outside of Williams Arena. And they sold out. It was the first time it sold out since Lindsay Whalen's first game as a Gophers coach. It didn't even sell out when Paige Beckers came back from UConn, and they played this year. That's
the power of her, and what a platform and a pedestal she'll be put on. And that's a lot of pressure, but I hope she just stays true to who she is, and can continue that inspiration for everyone, really, but for a lot of young girls who play basketball, and to reinvigorate, the idea that that men's sports, women's sports, there's not a divide there.
Yeah.
That we can appreciate both sides, and it's not like one is better than the other.
Right. Kind of sticking with college sports, let's stay with hometown Gophers.
Yep.
The Gophers men basketball. We've talked about them a little bit last week, but not too much. And the reason we're not talking about golf right now is we're in kind of that weird lull of there's the waste management. There's one the next week, and then we're on a little bit of a break right now. So there's not a lot of stuff in the golf world.
No.
Outside of Rory McIlroy seemingly having a softer stance on live.
Or John Rahm saying that Tiger won't text him back or something.
I don't. It's weird, and that's kind of all speculatory stuff anyway. So I don't know. Yes, it's stuff that we could talk about, but also because some of it is so outlandish and so speculated. I don't know. We don't want to just spew random stuff on here just to talk about golf.
Yeah.
We want the stuff.
And
that
we know a lot of golf's coming this way, because coming your way and coming our way, because tis the season. It's upon us, so it'll be coming our way. But it's kind of nice to now that we're coming up on the end of the season for Big Ten basketball, and with the Big Ten tournament coming up, like you just mentioned, we're hosting it here.
Yep.
The Gophers seem to be a team that could upset somebody good, but can they be consistent enough to win a few games that put them in the tournament to begin with? Or are they just a really good NIT team?
I hope.
Yeah.
You look at, they were picked to finish dead last in the Big Ten. Over the last 2 seasons, they had 6 Big Ten wins. And as of 2 nights ago, they got their 9th. Were they 9-9 in the Big 9?
9-9. 9-9. I think they're 500. They have 19 wins, I think.
Yeah. So it's like they've far outshot the expectation for the season. And if you look at the games that we had, we should have beat Purdue.
Yeah,
we should have beat Wisconsin.
Yeah.
We should have beat Missouri.
Yeah.
We should have beat Ohio State.
San Francisco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, we could easily be a 23-win team right now.
Ohio State's kind of sneaky, though, because they just beat Nebraska, didn't they? Yeah,
they beat...
they can be... They don't have a great record, but they're a tough team.
Yeah. That's true. Some battles.
You're gonna lose some games in the Big Ten, but gosh, there's those non-conference games, San Francisco and Missouri. Just those 2 wins and we 21 wins.
It's probably a different conversation, especially if you finish out one of those games. Well, Iowa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, God, that one was.
Both of them.
Yeah, we just needed McCaffrey to get teed up again or something, and he's gonna be the father-in-law the father-in-law to Caitlin Clark someday.
Yeah, because Caitlin Clark's dating one of his sons. He's got like 17 kids. Yeah, I feel like every single year there's a different McCaffrey playing for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, he's got to have one.
That'd be weird
because he's at least not the Wisconsin Buzzcuts.
Oh, Wisconsin!
Yeah, if you get a buzz cut, you gotta play Wisconsin. You gotta play for Wisconsin.
What's the deal with? I was having this conversation with my dad the other day. What's the deal with like the Gophers football just got the number one rated O lineman in the state of Wisconsin committed to the Gophers instead of Wisconsin. Then we have for basketball. Granted, we had that Isaac Azuma.
Yeah.
He's staying, but the Lakeville notoriously over the last few years, there's been players from Lakeville North, highly rated in the state. Go to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You would think
they'd all just go to their own state.
Why wouldn't you just stay here?
I don't know. I just can't. I cannot stand. I don't know why. No one knows.
I've had the discussion I had with my dad was if you were in that position where all of a sudden you were getting recruited by, especially schools. I would put Minnesota and Wisconsin in kind of the same level, right?
Yeah. Some people would say Wisconsin over Minnesota, but yes.
And maybe the Minnesotan in me puts them on the same.
Yeah. Yes.
Overall, I would never put Wisconsin on the same level as Kansas, Duke, North Carolina. I would lump them with Minnesota.
Correct.
So my thing is that unless, it'd be pretty hard if you were the type of player where you knew you were going to go to the league either way. It'd be pretty cool if you got recruited by, at the time, Coach K for Duke to not go to Duke. That'd be really hard to...
Yes.
That'd be the opportunity to leave. But then, my dad will make the argument all the time of, if you know you're going to the league anyways, why not
go where you can
grow your home state program?
Yeah. Yes.
So I don't understand why people, go to Wisconsin and the Wisconsin people come here.
Yeah.
That is weird to me.
Yeah, it's got to be a personal connection with the recruiter or something like that. But it'd be nice to see, the Gophers have been able to get some transfers in. But they're on the right track going forward, and I think Ben Johnson's getting the respect of other coaches too, which is pretty cool. So
he needs to be up for a Big Ten
Coach of the Year.
He needs to be up for a Big Ten Coach of the Year. Mm-hmm. He's got to. Mm-hmm. How do you? There's a couple of good coaches this year, but I don't know how you don't mention him.
No,
as top 3 up for that award.
Yeah, you have to.
You're approaching. We got one game left. Northwestern?
Yeah, Northwestern, yeah. Which they have to win.
So we win that, we're at a 20-win season.
Yep.
And you were picked to be dead last?
Wouldn't you have a winning record in the Big Ten then?
Yeah. So then you'd be 10-9, and you'd have a 20-win season.
You'd have to, based upon the fact that we never beat really a top team, I think you have to win at least one, maybe probably 2 games in the Big Ten tournament. Because you'll get a bye.
Because we're going to fall out of, I think, by not beating Purdue. I think we're going to fall out of that top, because the Big Ten is now, oddly enough, it's like 18 teams. It's broken into 3 categories. The top one getting a double bye, the middle one getting a bye, the second one playing for their life on day 1.
Yeah.
So if we would have beat Purdue, I think, or won 1 or 2 of those games, that would have put us the bottom of that first tier for a double bye.
Yep.
But I don't think we'll get that. We'll hopefully get a 1-game bye, and then we'll get matched up with, whether it's probably Ohio State again, something dumb.
Just gotta take care of business, and if we don't make it, making the NIT and being a contender in that would be kind of fun too.
Right.
I'm not going to be disappointed terribly if they don't make the tournament. I think that the Big Ten is a little bit down with the lower tier teams that back when there was 8, 9, 10 teams that make it from the Big Ten.
Yeah.
9.
Right.
That's not the case this year.
No. Outside of, I still think Purdue's
I don't
overrated.
even think Michigan State. I mean, Michigan
State's garbage.
But they'll probably make it, but I don't think they should.
No, I don't see. They shouldn't make it over the Gophers.
No.
And I think outside of one of the most overrated teams in Purdue that we talked about, I think they're shockingly overrated. So Purdue, Illinois.
Purdue, Illinois. You got to probably put Wisconsin in there.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
Not Iowa. I hope.
Not Iowa. I mean, Nebraska's okay. I still don't think that they're not going to do anything in the tournament.
No, they're not, but they should make it.
They'll make it.
Northwestern has a chance.
So it's a big game, this Gopher Northwestern game.
Yeah.
And it's at Northwestern. Mm-hmm. So,
Should be fun.
Wolves are finally getting a lead here.
Yeah, by 13.
Playing Portland right now, who's like down their top 16 guys.
Both Mike and I could have started for them tonight.
I know we got a call, but we had to do a podcast.
Yeah, we decided, but my hamstring hurts, so.
For me, it was like, no, we have to put out a podcast.
Yes.
We had this scheduled to put out a podcast for you guys.
And so, we're getting towards the end here, and I just wanted to let you guys know that, our website, we're trying to make it happen. We think our gear's pretty cool. We have some cool things in mind with some sponsors coming up and some giveaways. We really want to, obviously get back to talking about, golf more exclusively as the season starts and as more tournaments are going on.
And get out into golf and
then
that
continue,
always drums up conversation.
Yeah, and then continually chip in, like I said before, our thoughts about the sports world and what are solving the world's problems in that regard, and highlighting those things that happen. And what our thoughts and ideas might be, because you never know when Kwesi Odofa-Mensah is going to listen to our podcast and want to hear what we have to say.
Right, I'm going to send it to check your DMs. We'll slide in.
Yep. We will take only a little bit of guaranteed money.
Just a little. We don't need anything crazy. We don't need Cousins money.
No, we don't need Cousins money. Trust me.
But thank you guys so much for tuning in yet again to the Public Course Golf Podcast. Head to publiccoursegolf.com. You can again find our merch. You can learn a little bit more about us. You can see our sponsors. We have an awesome list of sponsors, and we have some awesome ones that are jumping on board. Yep. And they're kind of picking up, and they're digging our vibe here.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, and we're so glad to advertise them when they decide to do it. So we'll bring you those new ideas. Maybe you'll gain some ideas about different products and things that you might want to try. So.
We got a new one sitting right over there.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you yet.
Is going to be the sponsor of next week's episode. So if you dig today's episode, hit that thumbs up button. Hit the red subscribe button to not miss the next episode. And with that, PJ, what do we do?
Bye.